For the Americans to do that. If it was done under the banner of NATO, then that's a different kettle of fish. People here have been stressing to me that they don't want foreign intervention in terms of troops, and certainly not like Iraq or Afghanistan. They've stressed that over and over again. A no-fly zone is something they are calling for. They want that. This is still, as far as Benghazi is concerned, in the east of the country, the remaining threat. We don't know how much of Gaddafi's air force remains intact and how much he can use, but this is a potential threat to this part of the world, and they're worried about it.
When it comes to day-to-day necessities, how are they managing where you are for food, for medical supplies?
Benghazi's doing okay at the moment. They're getting food supplies in. We've had aid planes landing here from France. We've had ships coming in, and food is coming over the border from Egypt, so it's good. But as you get further west, closer to the zone of confrontation, then you're having more of a problem. AlJazeera was a place I went to on Monday, and there they're starting to feel the pinch. They don't have so much food, they don't have so much medical provision, so they're feeling it now more and more. So there has to be, you know, an organisation, a chain now evolving to get the food and the aid to the people that need it.
Tony, seeing those pre-Gaddafi flags, those Libyan flags flying behind you, the tricolours, and the mood of, if not festivity, then certainly some kind of celebration, it makes you wonder whether the people there think it's almost over already.
Well, they do actually. They think it is over. It's just a matter of time when that man in Tripoli actually goes. They're telling me they want him to go. Either he'll go voluntarily or they'll take him by force, and that for them is the last possible option, is that they will have to take care of the liberation of the entire country themselves. They're hoping it won't come to that because, you know, Gaddafi's forces are cornered in a way. They're very heavily armed, they're very well trained, and they won't go without a fight, so they have to have a way out. So people here are hoping it won't end in a fight, but if it has to, then they are prepared, and they're starting to prepare for that.
Thank you, Tony. Tony Bertley in Benghazi. Now, humanitarian aid is also being sent to the Tunisia-Libya border from the international communities, but tensions there are still very high. There have been skirmishes between the crowds fleeing Libya and border guards. Security forces overwhelmed, it appears, by the numbers trying to cross into Tunisia. Thousands of Libyan and foreign nationals have been camping out there for almost a week while they wait for some kind of help. James Bass, our man, is near the Ras Ajdir at the Tunisian-Libyan border. He says refugees are still coming in from Libya, but for some the situation's overwhelming.
It's a really chaotic situation here. Problems have been growing at the border for days, but I think it's fair to say that things are now at breaking point. The crowd at the other side of this border, on the Libyan side, has been growing. The conditions for them have been getting much worse. We've seen people being taken from that crowd who've collapsed, people who've fainted, suffering from dehydration and stress, people who've been on the long road from Tripoli, a dangerous journey, and then stuck in that crowd. The Tunisian authorities also overwhelmed by about 1,000 people that they're processing here every hour. Some people have been climbing over the wall, and at one point the Tunisian authorities had to fire in the air to stop people coming forward. There are also local men here with sticks standing on the walls who've been beating back parts of the crowd.
Well, that's James Bays on the Libyan-Tunisian border. This is what's being shown on Libyan state television at the moment. We don't know the name of the man there, but according to state television, this is the confession of a man from Zintan who was caught transporting weapons for militias. I've got no other information on it other than that at the moment. Which militias, we don't know. Where they were, we also don't know. But this man has been paraded before the cameras, and he's from Zintan. State television saying he's confessed to being an arms runner for one group or another. We're talking about events at the Tunisian-Libyan border, but Tunisia's country that is still in turmoil. Yet more key political figures have announced that they're quitting the interim government, and the latest walkouts mean 6 high-profile politicians have resigned since the weekend, including the Prime Minister Mohamed Ghannouchi. Protesters are demanding still that all ministers associated with the former Ben Ali regime leave the government. Who are the latest politicians to stand down? One, the local development minister and prominent opposition figure, Ahmed Najib Chebi. He's from the Progressive Democratic Party. The two other ministers who resigned on Tuesday are Higher Education and Scientific Research Minister Ahmed Ibrahim and Minister of Economic Reform Elias Jouini. Latest resignations come as an Islamist movement was made legal 2 decades after it was banned. The movement's name is Ennahda, which means the awakening. The decision will allow the movement to form a political party and participate in elections. So let's take that a stage further. Talk to Ahmed Bouazi, professor at the University of Tunis, El Manar, from the Progressive Democratic Party, the same political party as Chebbi, joins us live from the Tunisian capital. I suppose there are always going to be shakedowns after such a momentous event as the end of Ben Ali's regime and trying to establish some kind of control. But is this a surprise that so many have gone?
I think the contract that has been made between the government and between our leader Ahmed Najib Chebbi was broken from the government side. So Ahmed Najib Chebbi quit the government, and also this government was under pressure, under blackmailing from some extremist groups and from the trade union also. And so the government answered to all the demands of these small groups.
So what was the deal that you say that wasn't kept by the government?
The problem is the problem of the election. For our party, we didn't want to have a vacuum of power. We wanted to go through elections, so we should have an elected government. But some forces from outside the government, from the opposition, they didn't like it this way, and they tried to stop it, and they were supported by some forces not seen from the behind the scene, some forces. So there was no roadmap. And finally, this new prime minister who is coming back from Bourguiba's era, and they said that there will be no political minister, and all the ministers should be what we call here technocrats, and they don't have the right to run the election.
I want to ask you about Ennahda in just a moment, but let me go back to something you just said, effectively saying that there were groups outside which have sabotaged the possibility of the elections in the way that some people inside the government wanted them to be run. I mean, in whose interest would that be? Who are these people that you're saying have sabotaged this deal?
They are from extreme left and from also Islamists. They are present in trade union organizations, and they can have a pressure on the leaders of the trade union. And our trade union is very potent, and they can do a lot of harm. So they were preparing a general strike.